This is the day after the impeachment trial. And yesterday, when I was working, last few hours of the shift driving the haul truck, I was listening to the radio, Sirius radio, heard the trial end, and heard Schumer talk, Raskin talk. And I heard McConnell talk, Senator McConnell. And I listened as carefully as I could. Sometimes when you're driving around, you're not in a good position to catch every word, but I caught a lot of it, and I appreciated what he had to say. I appreciated it so much that when I got home, close to 8 o'clock at night, I sent him an email and thanked him. And thanked him from the bottom of my heart. We need the truth to come out, and he's Republican, highest ranking Republican around, decent one. And he called it exactly how it was. I'd like to read some of it. I know if you can look at it maybe on TV or on the internet, but I want to read some of it here. January 6th was a disgrace. This is McConnell. American citizens attacked their own government. They used terrorism to try to stop a specific piece of democratic business they did not like. Fellow Americans beat and bloodied their own police. They stormed the Senate floor. They tried to hunt down the Speaker of the House. They built a gallows and chanted about murdering the Vice President. They did this because they had been fed wild falsehoods by the most powerful man on earth. Because he was angry, he lost an election. Former President Trump's actions preceding the riot were a disgraceful dereliction of duty. The House accused the former president, quote, incitement. This is a specific term from the criminal law. Let me put that to the side for one moment and reiterate something I said weeks ago. There's no question that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of that day. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president. And having that belief was a foreseeable consequence of the growing crescendo of false statements, conspiracy theories, and reckless hyperbole, which the defeated president kept shouting into the largest megaphone on planet Earth. This issue is not the only president's intemperate language on January 6th. It is not just his endorsement of remarks in which an associate urged trial by combat. I think that was Giuliani probably. It was also the entire manufactured atmosphere of looming catastrophe, the increasing wild myths about reverse landslide election that was being stolen in some secret coup by our now president. I defended the president's actions right to bring any complaints to our legal system. The legal system spoke. The Electoral College spoke. As I stood up and said clearly at the time, the election was settled. But that reality just opened a new chapter of even wilder and more unfounded claims. The leader of the free world cannot spend weeks thundering that shadowy forces are stealing our country and then feign surprise when people believe him and do reckless things. Sadly, many politicians sometimes make overheated comments or use metaphors that unhinged listeners might take literally. This was different. This was intensifying crescendo of conspiracy theories orchestrated by an outgoing president who seemed determined to either overturn the voters' decision or else torch our institutions on the way out. The unconscionable behavior did not end when the violence began. Whatever ex-president claims he thought might happen that day, whatever reaction he says he meant to produce, by that afternoon he was watching the same live television as the rest of the world. A mob was assaulting the Capitol in his name. These criminals were carrying his banners, hanging his flags, and screaming their loyalty to him. It was obvious that only President Trump could end this. Former aides publicly begged him to do so. Loyal allies frantically called the administration, but the president did not act swiftly. He did not do his job. He didn't take steps so federal law could be faithfully executed and order restored. Instead, according to public reports, he watched television happily as the chaos unfolded. He kept pressing the scheme to overturn the election. Even after it was clear to any reasonable observer that Vice President Pence was in danger, even as the mob carrying Trump banners was beating cops and breaching perimeters, the president sent a further tweet attacking his vice president. Later, when the president did half-heartedly begin calling for peace, he did not call right away for the riot to end. He did not tell the mob to depart until even later. And even then, with police officers bleeding and broken glass covering Capitol floors, he kept repeating election lies and praising the criminals. In recent weeks, our president's associates have tried to use the 74 million Americans who voted to re-elect him as a kind of human shield against criticism. Anyone who decries his awful behavior is accused of insulting millions of voters. This is an absurd deflection. 74 million Americans did not invade the Capitol. Several hundred rioters did. And the 74 million did not engineer the campaign of disinformation or rage to provoke. One person did. Now, he pretty much says exactly what happened there. Yeah, I thanked him, and I'll thank him again in the future. We need more Republicans to come out and speak the truth, but he took the courage, the initiative to be first, and for that he deserves credit. It'd been nice if the Senate had voted to convict, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is the judicial system. He needs to be facing a grand jury indictment, go to court, and let it all on the line right there. And I have no doubt he'll be convicted, and who knows what he'll have to serve, but he deserves some prison time rather. I think jail's like less than a year or two. Civil suits, yeah, they'll be right on him. Anybody that was hurt, the police officers, 140, 50 were hurt. One was killed. I guess 2 later committed suicide, and the other people that died. He's going to play part of the responsibility, of everybody and himself. And of course, he has deep pockets, so that's who they'll go after. So hopefully other Republicans will come out. I do think this is the end of Donald Trump. Anybody who can support him now, once you look at the facts, if you saw or heard the impeachment trial, there's no way to take away anything but he's guilty. Now, there are Republicans still trying to avoid the issue. I say most of them were cowards to begin with, but their day will come. In fact, this week they'll be going back to their constituents, and not everybody's going to be falling in the Trump area. They're going to start to fall out, one by one. And the more and the quicker it happens, the better off we'll be as a country. I think when he starts to throw his rallies, people will go there, just like when the snake oil salesperson come into town, sold people snake oil. Well, they were happy about it for a while until they found out none of it worked. In fact, people even suffered from it. Well, if he made the mistake of coming back to the same town, they'd run him out of town, probably tar and feather him. And I believe people will be booing him. People will call him a liar. The people that followed him, his orders to storm the Capitol, they believed him. They didn't think he was lying. They believed him. Well, now it's coming out, and most people, we knew it a long time ago, but it takes a while for people that follow somebody to figure out the truth. Well, the truth's come out. Truth's come out now. Senator McConnell told the truth, just like it was. The trial told the truth. If you had any doubts, follow it. Anybody that's got something right there and not prejudice, Open your eyes, open your mind, and you'll see that that's what happened. Anyway, I don't think Americans like to follow somebody who they know tells a lie. These people didn't think that President Trump was a liar. Well, he is. He's only concerned about himself. Sure, he's going to get converts because he's going to throw stuff out you like. A bad guy's not going to do everything bad. Otherwise, nobody would want to be around him. He threw out enough to bait you in, convince you the other side is real bad. I know you can still vote for who you want, but don't be taken down a path where you're gullible and you do things you're going to regret. These people that got arrested, they thought they were patriots. You're not a patriot if you go against the law. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry. It'd be different if another country was invading us, and then we'd need these people. We need the Proud Boys, the Oath Seekers. They're guns a-blazing. That's great, but not in this situation. They tried to change an election that 80-some million people voted for the other guy, and a electoral college was on the side of the Democrats. And you can vote who you want next time, but try to vote for somebody that's got character. If you don't vote for someone that's got character, you're not going to come out in the end. They're going to pull stuff on you because, yes, that's not the type of people we want as our leaders. I guess that's about all I got to say today.